folks, Kevin here in Japan, in Kobe, Japan, cycling to work in the morning, and I'm going a different way than I normally would, a little off the beaten path, because I wanted to have a chat with you folks. So I'm going to cut through a park over here. This high school boy's going. And yeah, so this way is going to take me a little bit longer because I'm going to have to deal with some traffic lights. So what I wanted to talk about was having good neighbors and how meaningful that can be to have good neighbors. I guess like anywhere in Japan, in an apartment building, many people never get to know their neighbors. And I suppose that's the same no matter where you live, in Canada or America. Australia, you know, people don't take the time to get to meet people. Now, we did it a very traditional way when we first moved here. Very traditional thing. My wife is a pretty traditional Japanese woman. And what we did was, we live on the top floor of a building on a corner. So we've got an apartment beside us and one below us. So what we did is when we first moved in 6 years ago, we stopped by each one and gave them a gift. We gave them a gift, and then when we had our first baby, my wife stopped by each one again, gave them a gift, and apologized for any noise that our baby might make. So the ones from below us had moved out. We have new neighbors there. They've been there for a few years, and they're really nice people. But the ones beside us, I'm gonna pipe down for a moment here. So what I was trying to say is that I gotta talk pretty loud when I'm using this. So I don't know, it feels a bit weird when there's a bunch of people standing around me. There's a couple of foreigners there, do you see that? So yeah, so the neighbors beside us end up being such great neighbors, and they've lived there the entire time we've been here in Japan. I've been in Japan, my wife's been here her whole life. And it's a man and woman, and he's in his 50s, she's in her late 40s. He works for Osaka city government, and she works as like a caregiver at a nursing home. And they're just a sweet couple. And the man, his name's Toshi, and he's a runner too, so he's just really great. And we've gone over to their place a few times over the years and whatnot, and whenever we travel, whenever they travel, we always bring each other back omiyage gifts. When I went to Canada for Christmas last year, I brought them back some Steam Whistle beer from Toronto. Yeah, so they're really good people. Nice, and they've been watching my children grow up. They were, you know, they remember when my son Kai was born, and they've never complained when our babies cry all night long and make lots of noise. Yeah, they've just been very nice. But my wife sends me a text message yesterday, and she said, Kevin, I got some really bad news. I was talking to her neighbor, and she said they're moving. They're moving. I said, when? This weekend. I thought, oh no. So they're not leaving Kobe, they're just moving to a different part of the city, closer to an area that they like to shop in and hang around in. So I'm pretty bummed out about that. So what's gonna happen is they'll move out of their apartment, and this weekend, it's probably going to be empty for several months. The building company will renovate it, and then you got to wait for a new renter. And then the thing is, who are you going to get? Are you going to get some kind of weirdo? Are you going to get someone who's going to complain when my baby cries or my son's jumping around? Or, you know, will it be someone nice? You don't know. Alright, so I'm going to go down that way. So again, it's a real gamble. You don't know. You don't know what you're going to get. tricky. So yeah, so pretty bummed out about that. And this morning as I was standing in my kitchen drinking some coffee, I was thinking a bit more about that, and it's depressing me. Just in the case that good neighbors are hard to come by. Yeah. And he's always, my neighbor's always very interested in the fact that I'm a foreigner. And, you know, he took that as an opportunity to practice his English with me sometimes, and it was always a great time. And I bike commute, but we used to sometimes commute on the same train together, and I could practice my Japanese. Yeah. So there you go. So have you, I'm curious guys, watching this, have you ever had a really good neighbor? Or just a really awesome neighbor? If you have, let me know in the comments why they were so great. And on the opposite end, have you ever had like a neighbor from hell, a really bad neighbor, one you couldn't stand or one that drove you nuts? And if so, let me know about that in the comments below. I'd love to read about it. I definitely have tales of bad neighbors, there's no doubt about that. And not here in Japan, but in Korea certainly, and in Canada most certainly. I'll have to tell you about the, and there's no other real terminology to use for it, but I'll have to tell you about the crack whore that lived in the basement of the building I lived in once in Canada. And she'd leave syringes. She was a junkie as well. She'd leave like syringes laying around in our driveway. That was pretty frightening. Yeah. So that's another story for another day, guys. So take care, hope you're doing well, and remember, if you like the video, like it, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check all the links below. Alright, and if... yeah, so just, you know, check all the links below. So later guys, Kevin in Japan.